I'm super grateful for this class, to be honest with you. I know that I always say whenever I die, I'll have enough art out there to maybe be famous, just maybe, right? And it's funny because one time I had one of my pieces of art stolen from outside. It was on West Campus in Austin, and it was stolen. I'm not even mad about that.
When you were building your website, did you have any challenges or surprises in that process? Today, we're welcoming Jillian Cormier. Jillian, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Hey guys, I'm Jillian, and my personal brand is Jillian Paints. And from that parent brand, I have a couple of spinoffs with like my paint parties, and then I have also my curb art that I do. But my Jillian Paints does the murals, and I'm an artist. Been an artist since I could pick up a pencil, honestly. It runs in my family. It's kind of just something that I thoroughly enjoy. Anytime that I'm not working or in class, I'm painting or drawing of some sort.
Tell us about how you got into being an artist and having a strong personal brand.
When I was actually a little girl, I was like in elementary school. I used to take pieces of paper and draw like the entire piece of paper. And I would, I guess, sell them to the kids in class with their lunch money. And I would just put them in their binders, and that would be their cover page for their binders. But really, when I turned 18, I decided to have Jillian Paints because I started painting at that time. And I was really good. I did really awesome rock star paintings. And I gave a few away. My friends were like, they're too good to be just giving away. You should probably be selling them. And that's kind of where it kicked off. I built this Jillian Paints page through Facebook because I'm 35. I was 18 when Facebook started. That's where I started my page. And it kind of just built up, not terribly a lot of followers, but I have quite a few. And because of this page that I've been doing since I was 18, I have been able to commission probably 6 states, different clients from 6 states. I've been able to send my art all over the country so far.
And fast forward to right before you enrolled in our AI and personal branding course. In that course, you already came with a strong identity and a strong personal brand. Can you speak to what the transition looked like? What did you already have, and what pieces did you want to work on?
When I started this class, I had a personal brand, and it was Jillian Paints. But I also had 2 passions. I have my property management, which is what I do on my day job. And then I have the painting that is a huge part of my life. So what I wanted to do was somehow find a way, which your class helped me to find a way to merge the 2. Although I had sort of merged the 2 by hosting events throughout my career. So that was the way that I did it. And so I brainstormed, and I could just do the painting classes. And so I did Jillian Paints. And your class was amazing. And it's helped me kind of just focus on the idea of what I need to do as far as figuring out how I'm going to put it together and execute it. That's what I needed to find out, was how to basically merge the 2 passions together and make it to where it would work. And I think I found Jillian Paints parties, and that worked out for me.
In the persona assignment, when you were really getting more specific on your target audience and who they were, did you find anything surprising in your research?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, actually, because that was actually probably the hardest part of the class, was the persona audience part of it, just because I started to think about it. I mean, ChatGPT helped me a lot to kind of try to figure that out. I'm a little bit older, and so my audience is a little bit older than just college students. I did my survey, and a lot of people that were answering back were in their late 30s, early 40s, and trying to think kind of what that audience looks like was kind of challenging, I guess, compared to other students. But what I found out with the target audience is that not everybody was like the people that took my survey. Not everyone was college graduates. A lot of them were, because one of my questions was, when you have resident events, what's important to you? What are some options? And it was art, creative events, or getting people, and the other option was having drinks and food. And they picked that one. Crazy. So I was like, oh, awesome. I have a bunch of like people that are into the drinks. And so that was kind of hard to just base it off that. So I kind of had to think about it a little bit more, because I couldn't really use my survey to base my whole audience off of. It wasn't the best surveyed group. So what I decided was to kind of just think about, okay, I want to target towards property managers because obviously that's where I want to have my business and kind of get my customers from. So I started to think, well, I'm a property manager. So how can I mean, really the audience is me essentially. I kind of put myself a little bit into being the persona, essentially using my daughter's name, which is kind of funny. But long story short, I was able to pick myself needing to not do the small things, doing the marketing or doing the setup of the events or doing even the hosting of the event. Instead, I would prefer somebody come do that for me so I can mingle with the residents, like building connection there. I decided to do a business model that would be me taking care of the marketing all the way through the setup to breakdown of the resident events so that the property manager can sit back and relax and mingle with the residents. So that was how I started my persona, and that's how I ended up getting to that specific business model.
When you were building your website, did you have any challenges or surprises in that process?
Trying to figure out the design was a little challenging, but I actually had a lot of fun with that assignment. Well, at that time, we're still kind of tweaking our ideas and trying to figure out what we're going to do. So whenever I started doing the design, it was just a lot of fun, I feel like. But it wasn't super challenging. It was kind of putting pieces together and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
And whenever you were crafting your blog, what was the topic that you chose to craft your blog about?
Well, that's actually a really good question because at that time, I had decided to do both my curves and my painting parties right at that time. Some of the feedback that I got from the assignment from the peers were that I should focus mainly on one instead of doing the curves. So when I did my blog, it was about curb painting. That ended up, I still have it on my website, but I feel that probably I could maybe, well, I'm going to keep it actually because I did add the curbs back on there just to show as my portfolio. But the blog was a lot of fun. I actually added one of my TikTok videos to the blog. And then I just basically said how important it is to have your numbers on your curb because of emergency reasons and of course deliveries and stuff like that. So that's what I based it off of. But it's just funny because I ended up not going with that idea essentially for the assignment. So yeah, it changes throughout the course, which is pretty cool. That's the purpose. You want to just start tweaking it and getting perfect. And I don't think it ever will be in this short 8 weeks that we're here, but you give us some great information, stuff that I would not find anywhere else that is just going to be so beneficial for me and my brand and in the many years to come as I continue to work on and tweak my brand. I'm super grateful for this class, to be honest with you. Awesome class.
I'm super happy to hear that, obviously, because the years of work and passion and sweat that goes into making a course, whenever you hear students appreciating that, it's just fantastic. It's fantastic to hear that people are enjoying the course and can use the course to actually grow their personal brand. I noticed that you opted to make videos in places where you didn't even need to make videos and that you're really comfortable on camera. You're really comfortable with the social media. You're really comfortable with speaking to camera. And I know a lot of people struggle with that. What advice do you have for those who might be more reticent to get on camera?
Well, that's a thank you, first of all, because sometimes I feel like I am super nervous, but at the same time, whenever you are passionate about something and you believe in something, or even if you're trying to sell something, you'll tend to get more comfortable on the camera and make it funny and fun too. First of all, my first podcast was fun because I had my bloopers as part of my intro, which I thought was funny. I'm just trying to make somebody smile, essentially. So, but even in my career as a property manager, I was the manager of the property, and my leasing staff is supposed to be the ones that are on the camera doing the social media. Well, I ended up being the one that was there because I was more comfortable. And of course, I was trying to teach them, but at the same time, I was the one that was always on the camera, just doing the funny stuff and trying to get people to come lease with us. But as far as the video that you're speaking of with the social media content, that was super fun because the social media content calendar was very easy for me because I do that normally for my properties, but I decided to go on Canva, which is what I use. And I basically I would do the content calendar for each week. And then underneath that, I would add slides that were the actual content that I was going to post. I did a video for a few. I added in there, and then I put the hashtags I would use, what the content was. If I had a link or something, I would attach that link. And so it ended up being a video because of the way I had to download it for it to, but it's funny because it was an accident. Because if you were to download it as MP3 file, my videos would play all at once. And so you just hear a bunch of noises. So I ended up having to download it as a slideshow, sort of, so that it would be a long video, but a slideshow. So it would just, each video or each slide would come up for a few seconds and it would play the video. Anyways, it was really fun. And I feel like it definitely went above what was asked of us, but I felt it was just so easy and that I would be able to use this again as a real life situation. So I used that as my content that I would post, and it was awesome. So
going above and beyond was an accident.
It was.
It seemed it was so planned. It seemed you had planned on, instead of producing a simple content calendar, the assignment was you had gone above and beyond by adding actual artifacts and examples of that content. Let's go back to the podcast. Tell us about your experience in launching your podcast and what that felt like.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. That was also one of the hardest weeks because I was so nervous. I was just nervous about podcasts. What was I going to talk about? And so of course, your directions gives you a lot of leeway. I mean, it gives you a lot of head start onto what you're going to do, and it helps you speak how you're going to do it. And so I just went through your directions and your extra links and everything and all the stuff that you were providing us as far as just the help. And so I was able to tweak my podcast to be about my paint parties and obviously how I was going to bring community and art together because I'm very passionate about both. And so I just started, I mean, honestly, I was just nervous about the podcast. Honestly, that was probably the hardest thing to do just because I was just, I don't know, I didn't really know what to talk about. But again, your course did help as far as figuring out what we were going to do. I met the assignment, but I think that I'm still nervous to continue the podcast, even though it's such a cool idea and everything. It's just that's something that I'm still nervous about. So I plan on doing for my last week another episode. And yeah, honestly, that was challenging. That was probably the challenging thing, most challenging. And you do it so effortlessly. I love watching your videos every week. It's so professional. And I don't know, I have to take a lot of pointers from you as far as watching you perform on your podcast because it's so natural.
I appreciate that because I think being natural is one of the things that I struggled with the most because there's this pressure to perform and I have a teacher voice on top of it. So not only do I have the teacher voice, which can come across as less authentic, but also the pressure to perform because when you teach a podcasting course or you teach an AI and personal branding course, there's more pressure there. So I think that it's absolutely natural that this takes time. And taking the time after the course is ended to add to and build up what you've been doing, and not all of it all at once. Maybe you'll work on your blog. Maybe you'll work on your podcast. Maybe you'll work on your social media. All of these things done at once can be overwhelming, but the important thing is continuing your personal brand. Where do you see the least resistance for after the course ends and you're creating your personal brand the way that you'd like?
Absolutely. So definitely with continuing the social media content and doing shorter videos, I think is going to be something that would be easier for me. And then also, I think more popular sometimes is the shorter video. It's like our attention span's gotten so small. So the shorter videos are easier for me. Using TikTok is a really cool thing to use as my recording system or whatever. So, but as far as what I feel like I'm going to continue to do for sure is definitely to keep posting on Facebook and Instagram and also just promoting myself through LinkedIn too. I think that is something that the LinkedIn week that we had was something I was super surprised about. To be honest with you, I didn't realize that LinkedIn was so important, even though I've had one for years and I feel like mine's pretty developed. But I will say that was a really good week too, learning about the LinkedIn, just because I didn't realize that it is super important for your personal brand. So I think maybe focusing on that as well would be something I'll be less resistant to. So yeah, but the content calendar week was I could resonate a lot more with. So I will continue that.
Whenever you're choosing which platform to invest the most in, you have all of these options and you post on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on TikTok, but your audience isn't all across those. Your audience is more on one than the other. Where do you find yourself spending time? And do you have any tips for these platforms?
I have found that because of, the week that we had, the importance of LinkedIn, that I have found that that is going to be the most important for my specific audience, because it's literally just people that are in the industry. And that's my persona and that's my audience. So for me, I think that I will focus more on that. But you're right. I mean, it's across the board. Each platform has a specific reason. Instagram is like a magazine, a virtual magazine. And then you have Facebook, it's more connections. And you also have longer videos. Then you also have LinkedIn, which is more professional. And then, there's reasons for all of the platforms. So just knowing which platform is going to be best for your specific audience is important to kind of just play with it maybe and just look at the analytics and see what's performing better and know what you're looking for as far as do you need more engagement? Do you need actual clicks, or do you need someone to visit your website, or what do you need from these platforms? And you're able to use the analytics to figure out your answers, and then you can choose which ones you need to focus more on. I think that that's probably the best advice I could give to the social media users.
In the creation of your media kit, you had a chance to look at those stats and those insights. What did you find, and how does that help you target your personal brand people?
I found that I got a lot of engagement with the LinkedIn post that I did, and it probably was because I already had built an audience essentially, or a support group for so many years that I've had it. So when I tweaked my LinkedIn to say that I have now my Jillian Paints is now part of my brand, because that's what I had to do, because I didn't have that before. I just had my property management. As I moved into that and added that, obviously people were really engaging in that, and they were like, what is this? So that's what my analytics, because this class goes really fast and people are probably still building their audiences. It's kind of hard with the analytics. I think at first it's still got to build it up. So that was just the most engagement I had. So when I viewed those analytics, I think I was able to figure out, okay, well, this is where I find the most engagement. In Facebook, I got a lot of family friends. You know what I mean? They were just engaging, of course, being supportive. But I think the targeted audience that I'm looking for in LinkedIn was the amount of engagement would actually be beneficial for my brand in the real world.
When you think about the story you want your client to walk away with, how do you tell that story?
Storytelling is very hard and it can be challenging, but you are a master storyteller and you will be able to help us, your lessons every week, to kind of tell your story and give us some confidence in doing that. So I appreciate that. The way I want to tell my story is starting from the beginning. Because again, I was born with this passion to do art. And then of course, I also feel because of me growing up with my mom being in real estate and my whole family being in real estate, that it was naturally going to be something I would be interested in, which I see an art in it as well. There not only is the selling part of it, but there's also an art to architecture and just buildings in general. So I find a big passion for that. So my story, I want to tell them that start from the beginning, where my passion started, how I was able to develop it, how it became a monetized passion at some point, and then what I can do with it moving forward. So, but also try to always resonate with my audience and be real and authentic is important to, obviously people just want to they want to watch somebody that's real. They don't want to watch somebody that's on a script all the time or not authentic. So just being vulnerable and being real is always going to bring your audience to appreciate you more. That's how I would tell my story, as just being super authentic about my actual real life. That's how it really went down.
Your clients have a story as to why they turn to Jillian Paints. What's that story look like?
Well, so the story that I think that my clients would have is similar to the story that I, as a property manager, have when I want to bring. So as I'm talking as the client now, as I want to bring community together and give back to the residents, because they are the reason we're here and we have a position, because we are here to serve our residents. Now, they pay lots of money, so we got to give them a good time. So essentially bringing the community together to feel appreciated, but also be comfortable in your home, right? Just like having the connections and knowing your neighbors, knowing that they can trust their office to get what they need done, because this is one of the most vulnerable things in somebody's life is their roof over their head. As a very busy property manager, I would like to go to Jillian Paints because I would want to bring that community together, know that the person that's hosting is also in the property management industry, knowing that she knows how to take care of her residents. So she'll take care of my residents. I want to be able to sit back and relax and engage with my residents while an event is happening. So another thing is too, I might not be very good at marketing, and I would be really grateful for Jillian Paints to provide the marketing materials for the event so that I can blast them to my residents. So having a one-stop shop kind of thing for your resident events with several different options, but all having because art's super therapeutic. I mean, it's something everyone enjoys some way or another. I think my residents would enjoy Jillian Paints parties because it's going to be a creative, it's going to be something that they can relax, and we also can come together as a community, and I don't have to do anything other than she breaks down, the Jillian Paints breaks down, they set up, they host, they're also doing the actual guiding of the paint or whatever we're doing, the activities. That's what my client story would be. Just, I need to sit back and relax and let her do the work.
You've made it so frictionless for your clients.
Yes.
Tell us about those price points. What's the price points for each level of Jillian Paints?
Yeah, so it depends on the amount of people. So I think I would start with 30. It starts with 30 guest parties, and that would start at like 50 because and I know it's like maybe not enough sometimes, but I mean, honestly, 350 is like reasonable. It's within, I think, a budget a resident event should be in, and it's about $10 a person. And I provide all the materials. I would give whatever we're doing. Some of the events that I have done and that I offer are paint pots and pot succulents. That one's a little bit more. That would be more of a $500 range for 30 people, just because you're getting the paint and you're getting the pots and you're getting the succulents, because I do provide all of that. Another thing I offer is just a simple acrylic paint canvas, do a canvas acrylic paint, and then I would guide the painting. And that one would be the $350 point price range. But also you can add things. I can bring drinks. So that's something I obviously upcharge for. So whenever I'm as an artist, it's hard to value yourself and put a price point on something or on your art. So it's something that I actually am struggling with figuring out exactly how much, but I think that $500 price range is reasonable and something that you could do.
I know that this helps your personal brand as an artist too. As an artist who gets paid for her work, how does Jillian Paints help you get your name out there?
Jillian Paints obviously is the parent company. It's Jillian Paints. It's such a simple title or business name, but it just is straight to the point. Anything I do, any kind of marketing I do is always going to be super colorful. I'm always going to incorporate my already done work. And so having that out there to use as an example instead of a stock photo or something is going to be beneficial for me. I also have been told that color is my thing. So I love color, and I just feel like sometimes it makes people happy, of course. And so when they see it, it draws attention, and I'm able to get clients through my marketing, essentially. I will say, though, in in the past, I've been super lucky to have really great property managers, mentors in my industry that have been so supportive. And they have actually commissioned me for a few of my murals that I've done. So I have been so lucky to be able to incorporate still my art with the property management, but actually make my property better by adding a mural. And so that was huge exposure. In fact, when I did this, I think I did this back in 2018 is when I did one of my first murals. That was something that was super big and important to me. It actually kicked off my Jillian Paints again, because there was a little time that I did not do as much art because I think I just wasn't feeling, I don't know, maybe I was a little depressed at the time, but I got out of it because of the encouragement and the support that I got from my mentors in this industry. And it kicked off Jillian Paints again. That's whenever I just started painting. And all my friends were asking me to commission things. This one right here, this big banner I have, was actually half of another banner for a birthday party that I did for a friend. And the other half for her 15th birthday, they used it as a backdrop. And that is honestly right after the mural, I was actually picking up clients from just doing that and seeing the process. And I posted the process on Facebook and Instagram, and I was picking up clients. And that's kind of when all the other ones from all the other states started coming in. So yeah, honestly, I just put a little bit out there. I don't know why. I just get a lot of support, and it's super great. And then I even got my own art show landed about 2022, and I sold a massive, okay, wait. First of all, I was the only one to sell a painting that whole show, by the way. Which is hard. I don't know, but I sold one. And then I had another guy come 3 months later, find me on Facebook. I didn't know who he was. And he said he saw me at the art show and he wanted this specific painting. And it was an astronaut, just kind of like this one. And it was a massive one. And he bought it for $500. And wow, it's super, yeah, it's super humbling to get clients added that follow you essentially. And just really felt grateful to be able to do this. Definitely, it's going to help me personally.
It sounds like you couldn't have imagined a better marketing vehicle than Jillian Paints for your actual artwork, because they really have a symbiotic relationship. And while that might not have been explicitly planned, I'm sure you had it in the back of your mind. This will help me get exposure for my art. Is that true or no?
For sure. I mean, because it's using my art to using it as a business model. I mean, I'm doing what I love. I'm able to say I do what I love. And that's super important. And it's funny because today's my birthday and I'm turning 35, even though, I mean, every day I question, sometimes I just question myself because I think that's natural. So what do I need to do to continue to be happy in what I do? And I think that as long as I'm doing art and I'm incorporating that some way or another, that I will ultimately be happy, because that's just my literal passion, born and raised passion. And I've even been able to pass it down to my daughter. My daughter is an amazing artist. And so it's very important that me and my daughter, it's so cute because I'll just be one time we had a little a little artist block, and we were both blocking, right? And we're sitting there on my bed and we're just trying to art and we're just throwing away these pieces of paper. And it's funny because we could really connect on that. I have an artist block, and she's like, I do too. And we were just like, this sucks. Anyways, it's kind of cute because I think that both me, my daughter, my mom, she's an amazing artist. She's actually not fulfilling herself properly because she doesn't art enough. And I don't want to be like that. I encourage her all the time to do her art, and she just doesn't have time. But you got to find time to do what you love. So when I am able to put it all together, I think that I'm just a happier person. So
what advice for personal branding would you give to your daughter?
I guess just finding your niche. As far as art goes, what's something that you do really well? Find what you think is your signature, not physical signature, but your signature, your artistic style. It's super important to find that. And I know that she does have that. Because if you look at her progression in her art, it's insane how similar, but the more developed it gets every year. And it's insane. She's a character person. She does characters, and she also uses technology because she's 13. And so she uses her technology to do digital art, and it's gorgeous. It's insane. And it literally gets her through hard times as she's developing being a teenager. So I guess my advice would be just to stick with that and just perfect it. And as long as you love it, I mean, if you don't like it, go somewhere, go do something different, explore other options too, because you might really like it. But definitely in this world of narrowing down niches, I think that it's important for her to, figure out what she does well and then just perfect it. And then I think that people will start to, once she starts putting her brand out there, they will want to go to her, obviously, because of that specific style that she does. Or if they're looking to illustrate their stories or some way or another, they'll go to her because of that specific style. And so that's important for personal branding.
Artists have to have a strong personal brand, in part because of the nature of what they do.
Absolutely.
We didn't get a chance yet to talk about AI. Tell us about how has AI impacted your personal brand?
What was great about your class is that you taught us how to use it ethically and how to also still critically think, which is super important because it's so easy to just type something in or copy and paste something in and it just think for you. And so knowing that still using your critical thinking, still like using your writing skills and drafting that in your Word document and then putting it through AI to like help tweak it and like try to tweak it to your personal brand or to your audience is like how it's super useful. I mean, it's just a great tool. I've mainly used ChatGPT. Like I know you gave us so many other sources, but honestly, ChatGPT has been very beneficial for me. Also helping me like what direction I need to go to hit that personal brand or hit my audience. So AI has just been a very great tool to use. Again, you showing us the ethical way is making it much, much more easier. And still, it's like it makes you smarter because it just opens your eyes to something you weren't thinking about.
Exactly. Do you see AI as a threat to traditional art? Because I know some artists are very nervous about this idea of an AI model like DALL-E or Midjourney taking a style and making it the AI style instead of the artist. And the role that authenticity plays in art must be top of mind for you.
Well, that's an awesome question because back when AI was not even really that, we didn't have it at our fingertips. When it was just an idea essentially, or not really an idea. It was already started, but it became more public. Me and my mom specifically, we were having conversation about AI and taking over art as I start to hear about how they are now developing art. At first, I was totally taken back. I did not like the idea. I did feel threatened. I felt like it was, because I always say AI is going to take your jobs. Wow, you're going there now. Okay, you're going to the art side. That's something we don't do because it's always been a human thing. It's a human made piece of art. But as I start to use it, two things. One, it's got a lot of glitches. Of course, it's going to get better, but it doesn't produce the art that I feel like I'm looking for whenever I put in my prompts or whatever, right? So it's not always going to be the best answer to get your art, your images, whatever. But also, too, it is helpful for you as an artist and it can be used as a tool instead of it being a threat. So the tool, I think that, like, for instance, if I have a client that comes to me and they have an image for a mural, right? And I need to give them a idea or give them some kind of prototype essentially to see if they're okay with that so that I can put it on their wall, right? So I think that a really good way to use AI in that situation would be to take whatever their idea is, create a prompt and spit it into the, ChatGPT or DALL-E. Which DALL-E I feel is better than a lot of the other ones. Or Firefly is a really good one too. I think the newer version of Firefly is better than the last one. I think it's 3. You spit it in there and then you start getting several images and you can kind of tweak them with all the different settings. So that way you have an image to bring to your client to kind of just see, hey, what do you think about this? And then they can say if they like it or they don't, or what they would change about it or whatever it is. And then that way you can go in there and you can just spit it out and it takes no time at all. It's very, very quick. So that way, once you get a thing that they like, then you can use that image as inspiration obviously we cannot replicate it essentially, but you could try. But then you have a really good start to your design for your actual piece of art. So it's not something you should be threatened by because I don't think that we're always going to have that need and desire for human made art, right? Or to us to actually produce the art. It's just always going to be the case. So I don't think you should be threatened by it. It was at first, but I think now you just use it as a tool to make it faster. Instead of having to do your sketch, you're doing an image from AI. So yeah, I love it. Actually, it's much easier.
I imagine that the story of the artist and the provenance of the work are important to someone who's purchasing art. How big of a role do you think that plays?
I didn't understand it. Sorry. You see one more time. Okay, every word
Is
down,
the
actually.
story of the artist? Yeah, here we go. We'll cut that out. Okay. Is the story of the artist important to those who are buying art today?
That's a good question. I think it is. Absolutely, I think it is. I think whenever you have a story tied to your art, or it has that that emotion that's maybe projected, your emotions are being projected onto this canvas or whatever, the photography or whatever kind of art you're doing. I think that definitely people resonate because, again, we're resonating with your stories and storytelling and all that stuff. But I think it's the same thing with art. They're resonating with what you were feeling. And it's funny. I think that honestly, one of the best examples of that is like Banksy. Banksy is one of the greatest. I mean, I love him and all of his stuff. He's so interesting. The fact that he's not even, publicly seen and that he just comes out with these insane, like politically charged, awesome, but, graffiti art that it's just, you can see like how he really feels. You can resonate with his like opinions. And then it's super funny because, when he recently sold that girl with the balloon, and then as soon as it sold in auction, it went through a grinder and it shocked everybody. It was the coolest thing because I felt like that was his statement to say, hey, you can't put money on my art like that. It's not like, this is just my raw emotions. These are my feelings and it's like priceless. And so I feel that's like essentially kind of the same thing. You're resonating with, I mean, he's showing his emotion through his art and you're able to see it and you're able to catch on to it. So yeah, it's very important.
And that story actually increased the value of that work you're talking about. It reinforces the value of the story of the artist and the work in the purchasing decision of the buyer.
Right. Absolutely. I think that was the coolest stunt you could have ever done.
So, Jillian, what kind of stunts do you have planned for your art?
No. That's a good point. I would think some way or another. I mean, I guess the example I would do is that when I do curb art, which is funny because I do curbs and I do little tiny murals on people's front yards. And sometimes they let me kind of take the wing and just do my artistic, whatever I feel. And so I guess stunt wise, I don't really know what kind of stuff I really do, but I know that I'm basically given a blank canvas to display to everybody driving by, and it's part of their home. I definitely don't want it to be weird, but I want it to just kind of flow really well and look good and something that they would. And also, I try to try to get to know somebody a little bit so I can base my art off of them a little bit to tailor to their liking and needs. So I know that I always say whenever I die, I'll have enough art out there to maybe be famous. Just maybe, right? And it's funny because one time I had one of my pieces of art stolen from outside. It was on West Campus in Austin, and it was stolen. I'm not even mad about that. They liked it enough to steal it. So somebody has it. You're happy with it, and I'm okay with that. Honestly, I was okay with it. It's the biggest, weirdest compliment. I'll just go ahead and put pieces out and see who steals it. And so that'll be my little stunt, figuring out, yeah, who will actually steal this? Is it good enough to be stolen? Anyways.
And working with curb art clients that are you're working on their home. If you're working on a curb, that's potentially impacting the value of a very expensive property. Even the cheapest homes have a lot invested in property and appearance. So as you get to know the clients, are there certain questions that you ask to help understand them and what they want?
Yeah. So that is a great point because the pressure is so much more. Tattooing is kind of pressure, a lot of pressure. Obviously, it's 100% on and be on you forever. But honestly, when it comes to somebody's home, I understand how it is important that they like it and that it just not look totally. I mean, some art I've seen, like numbers I've seen, has just been crazy. I can't believe you would like walk away with that looking like that. But so it's important for me as an artist and with my brand to make sure that it's going to look perfect. So honestly, it'll take me 8 hours sometimes. I feel like, I know it sounds crazy, but like I would spend hours, sometimes days, making sure it looks good. But like a lot of times, I've built up these examples. And so when I do, like a client like reaches out to me, they'll ask me, hey, I really like your art or your curb art. I really want to get mine done. So I'll ask them, okay, do you want a design or do you want just black and white? And they'll tell me a lot of times they want a design. I kind of started to build up these levels of design. So it started with just one little logo and then the numbers. And then honestly, it became the curb, like the vertical side, and then the side that's like is on the flatter side on top. So I'd have a image on the top and then I'd have the numbers at the bottom. So it became this larger canvas essentially for the art. So that one became more money, but it's because I would do a lot of sports teams with those. So the questions I would ask is, one, what kind of style do you want? Do you, what kind of direction? And they would a lot of times see other things that I would do and they were like this. Well, I never want to do the same exact one. That's kind of been my thing. I want them each to be different. Okay, I can do that, but just to let you know, I don't like to locate my art, so it's going to be a little different, but I'll ask the question, what kind of colors do you like? Or I'll send some examples or whatever and see what kind of style they like, because everyone's a little different. And there's been so many times that I've been wrong. I mean, not so many, but a lot of times I've been wrong and that I've had to redo a few sometimes, but I always make sure my clients are happy and that I don't leave unless they're happy and that they're okay with it. And I've made some people cry. I've made some people really mad. But I always make sure that I fixed it. Okay. If I have to remove them, I will. So anyways, it's important to know like what they want. Even placement is very important because I will assume, and I've found that I should not assume because they do not want it there, or they wanted it. They were like wanting it on the vertical side instead of like flatter side or whatever it is. And so, yeah, each experience has caused me to learn how to go about each client. So it's trial and error.
And you have to be super clear about what you can provide for that client and super clear about how it's going to be provided with your mock-ups and your examples. And I'm just imagining somebody wants, let's say, the San Antonio Spurs to show their Spurs pride. You have examples of that sports team in your own style, but you have to really communicate exactly what they want.
Right.
You have to get exactly what they want from them before you ever start putting paint to curb.
I don't know if it's something that other people can relate to, but I'm a go with the flow. I'm a Libra, obviously. So I'm a go with the flow. Air sign. I like to go with the flow. And I think everyone else does too, but I know they don't. But at the end of the day, I feel like when I go in and I say, this is what I know you want. But I mean, I don't even actually tell them I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'll freestyle on there, but I'll keep the logo or whatever it is that they want. I'll just do something different. So that is, sometimes there's some people with different personalities that do not like that. They want to have it certain specific way. And I will learn that because they'll come out and start looking at my art as I'm going. It's the people that don't come check on me that are like, do your thing. You know what I mean? It's the other ones that will stand behind me, which makes me super nervous. And that's when I know they're a client that they need more structure. They need more plans. And I, again, am a go with the flow person. So I don't really think about that, but it's a learning curve. It's something I had to learn about. And yeah, ideally, I've seen other curb artists because I do have support groups that I'm in with other curb artists, and they are very much, here's the prototype, here it is, this is exactly what you're going to get. They also cut their stencils and stuff, and I don't use stencil. So it's really hard for me to get it exactly what they want because I'm doing it freehand. I still can cut my own stencils. I just don't because I actually don't know how to use the stencil itself very well. I'm terrible at it. I've tried. And so I think I'm better just freehand. So they have to, I think that that is the disclaimer I do use. I do tell the clients that I am freehanding this. This is not a stencil. So it's not going to always be exactly like that, but I will do my absolute best and I will not leave until it's done. It's going to look great. And so if you've seen my curb art, it's pretty awesome.
Excellent. Paint by Jillian.
Yes.
Tell us your social handles so that people can find you online, and please spell them out for our listening audience.
Okay. Thank you. So I have Instagram I have two. I have Jillian Jillian Paint, Paints, Curbs, Curbz. That's my curb art, Jillian Paints Curbs. And it's also the same exact thing for Facebook. And then I have Jillian Paints. So that's Instagram is Jillian_Paints. And that's Jillian_Paints. And then it's Jillian Paints on Facebook. But those are the two that I mainly post on. So y'all should add me and follow me because I have some really cool, especially the curb art. I feel like that one's the coolest just because it's more practical. You can actually use it.
And your LinkedIn?
My LinkedIn, it's just, okay, so my LinkedIn is Jillian Cormier, CAM, CAM, Certified Apartment Manager. That's how you can find me.
It's French, a French name with a American artist.
Yeah, very much so.
Jillian, thank you so much for volunteering your time to share your wisdom, not only for personal branding and AI in the course, but also for your business and your expertise. We appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you letting me do this too. Yeah, I loved your class, man. I'm excited for, to continue with your material and using it. And so I appreciate you coming up with this class. So thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you.
Thank you.